Good afternoon. My name is Cynthia Runge, and I am a family law attorney in Boston, and I own Peridot Family Law, which is a full-service family law firm. We work in mediation, collaborative law, and we also handle litigated matters. Today, I'm very excited to present to you two highly experienced professionals. Um, the first speaker is Magdalena Ellis, and she is a therapist, coach, and mediator, as you can see on next to her name. She's also a certified, life coach, psychotherapist, and divorce mediator, and a lawyer with legal and financial background. Magda has over 10 years of experience helping clients navigate the emotional roller coaster associated with divorce and providing support through difficult decision making in any stage of divorce. So, welcome, Magda. And also, we have Kim Hutchins, who has been in the child and family counseling field since 1996, in group and private practice since 2003, after working for many years in director positions for child, outpatient, home-based, and residential programs. She specializes in divorcing and divorced families, guiding people through the uncoupling process emotionally and legally, family, parent, child reunification, and basically anything that you can have to deal with in terms of families and children. So welcome, Kim. So for today's program, like many of the programs we've had, well, pretty much all of the programs we've had before, we are recording the Zoom. And one of the reasons we do that is because these speakers have such really helpful, useful information for folks who are going through divorce or upheaval that we want to be able to post it. So if you are shy and don't want your name listed, when you're asking a question, you can always change it. But and if you want to ask a question, which we encourage you to ask questions, and I will try to keep my eyes on the chat. We encourage you to do that during the webinar, but we will also have time at the end. But just be mindful that if you ask a question, that your voice would be recorded. But other than that, we're going to get started. So this question is from Magda and Kim. So whoever wants to take it first or start. What interested you in the concept of gratitude during loss, so especially during the holidays?
Go ahead, Magda.
Well, I recall that I practiced gratitude when I was going through my divorce about 10 years ago, and it was extremely helpful. I think times of loss and divorce is such time, and makes us really try anything to ease the pain. And gratitude is a practice that is very simple. You can generate gratitude anywhere, anytime, and it really works.
That's great. I was drawn to the topic because it's what I try to do with my families all the time that I'm working with, and try to do it with myself as well. I think gratitude is a magnet for more gratitude. I feel like a lot of times when we're going through a lot of difficult things, it's really hard to focus on the things that are positive. And I think we all have blessings in our lives, and if we find the space in our mind and in our day to try to think of what those things are, and could make a big difference in balancing our how we're feeling, especially when we're going through really difficult times. And I think that it helps you to appreciate that there are always that balance of things as well that we sometimes aren't so aware of when we're struggling with things. So I hope people do that more.
So what is gratitude? I wanted to actually look at the definition before we jumped on, but I'm curious. What do you ladies think? What is
So I think,
gratitude?
yeah. So hopefully we will do a little exercise in a moment to really for people to experience this. But essentially, as Kim has pointed to, it's a state of contentment. It's enjoying, appreciating, savoring what we already have. And we don't have to be grateful for, we cannot be grateful for everything, but, and we can be grateful in every moment.
Yes, there's something to be grateful for in every moment, and it's not necessarily the tough thing that you're going through, but there's something there that you can be grateful for. I think the thankfulness and appreciation for what there is in your life that you can be thankful for.
So sharing that grateful feeling, how do we do that? Is there an exercise we could maybe explore to see what that feels like?
Yeah. It will take like about 2 minutes. So we can do this right now, and you can do it anytime and any place. So let's start with maybe if people can rank your joy or contentment right now from 0 to 10. 0 meaning there's no joy, no contentment, and 10 it's at the highest. And we'll see how we'll feel after this exercise. So maybe bring into your kind of awareness a living being, could be a person, could be an animal, somebody living or somebody dead, that you are kind of grateful for, that you have a lot of loving feelings towards that living being. And that will help us through the exercise. So if you're okay with this, you may close your eyes, and you can maybe place your hands on your heart and recall that living being in your mind's eye, and breathe into your heart the gratitude and love that you feel for this living being. Just breathing in very deeply into your body and breathing out. Concentrating on breathing in. Again, breathe in this love and gratitude that you have for the living being. And now we will, while we breathe in, we'll also send out gratitude and love to this person or living being. So breathing in, gratitude, and sending love and gratitude out. Breathing in and extending your appreciation and love. And maybe kind of pay attention to what's happening in your body right now. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and maybe rank your joy and contentment from 0 to 10 again, just to see if there was any shift.
If anyone is feeling anything that they want to share with us, you can put that in the chat. I think that that part about feeling it in your body is important, because we are literally trying to shift how we're feeling and thinking, and the sending it out to that person makes you feel, for me at least, it feels different to me when I'm sending it out. The feeling is different for me than when I'm breathing it in. I don't know if anybody else experiences that, but
It kind of reminded me of like a loving kindness meditation. And so I have a background in yoga, and that's something that we would practice. So I appreciate that.
that's good that you mentioned that, because meditation is to me is like many different things to many different people, but it's a space that you create to do something like this. To do, it can be just quiet, or you can have some sort of language, thoughts in your mind about what you're doing intentionally in that moment.
Yes. All right. So why is it important to try to hold on to gratitude when going through something like divorce?
I believe that it will help get you through the situation that you're going through. Transitions are difficult in general, and when there's a lot of loss that is associated with them, like with a divorce, it's really important. Not well, over the holidays is one thing, but over the holidays while you're experiencing the divorce is another level of things. But a lot of times when people are experiencing divorce over the holidays, there's a lot of losses, and there's a lot that that we aren't feeling really wonderful about. And so to be able to find the things that we are grateful for, and for us to be able to hold on to those things to help us through the more difficult parts, I think it's really important for people.
Magda, would
Yeah.
you add anything?
Well, I think when we look back into one of the most difficult moments in our lives, there's a lot of opportunities and a lot of things that we are later also grateful for. Um, so, and each moment, even though maybe really difficult and hard, brings some opportunities to us to learn, um, to to find out, to kind of process. And gratitude brings us to the present moment, and that's really where we're okay in the present moment. We have been through so much already that just remembering, bringing us back to the breath, to where we are right now, is it really this will bring us to the moment of joy and happiness. So it's a practice. It's definitely a practice.
Mm.
How can people get started with a gratitude practice?
Whenever someone asks me that, I always think about just take the first step. There's always that saying about like, how do you, climb the whole staircase? You just take the first step. You just start, and you create the space in your mind, maybe in your home, maybe just a list of the things you can do, just to create the space to start to experience it a bit, and to um, practice it. It can be 2 minutes like we just did for an exercise. It can be a moment when you're at the stoplight in your car or something, where it's just you're intentionally trying to find a space to think about what you're grateful for. What do you think, Magda?
Yeah, exactly. The stopping, right, and pausing is extremely important. And there's an organization called grateful.org, which has a wonderful practice of uh, it's a 3-step process: stop, look, and go. So kind of like we come to the intersection, right? We stop, we look, and then we go. It's a habit, and the way we, in order to experience gratitude, we need to pause, stop what we're doing, really kind of arrive at the present moment, find our breath, and then look inside, look outside. Um, what are the things that you appreciate right now? There is so much happening, people, nature, um, gifts, whatever that is, gifts of every moment. So we're looking, naming these, and then go, meaning that you can write them out, you can take some action, you can send a grateful ripple like we just did to other people that you love. Um, so that's one way to practice. Another one is to maybe say to yourself, I'm grateful for the gift of, and in that particular moment, and just name 3 things. Um, Having a journal next to your bed. So when you go to bed, just writing 3 things you're grateful for. And what happens is that once you start doing this, it becomes a habit, and you start experiencing it more. So maybe, kind of at times it's fake it till you make it, and then you actually see the results.
Absolutely. Yeah. It multiplies for sure. And you start to notice things that you didn't notice before. And as they say, like to stop and smell the roses kind of thing, you notice things as you're going along that you may not have noticed before, because you're finding space for that in your mind to be aware of those things.
Um, so many things that can initially seem like bad things over time can actually turn out to be so incredibly fortuitous. And it just always reminds me, I think I was talking to Magda about I love the story of the Chinese farmer, the parable. But anyway, I guess it's just the idea that, oh, something that seems like it's misfortune, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Um, so how do you practice in difficult times? Seems like it's easier to be grateful when things are going well.
I would say it's easier to start practicing when things are going well because it makes it easier to do it in the tough times. However, sometimes I think that when there's so many things going in a tough direction for you, it's more important. It's very important to try to find the things that you are grateful for that are still there, because even though we're losing a lot, we aren't losing everything, and to identify those things is really important. I think it's tough to start because that's not what we're focused on a lot of times when we're having a tough situation, but to know that that will help get us through it is a good mindset to try to have to get you to try to start it.
Magda, any thoughts?
Absolutely. I completely agree that it's easier to practice when things are going well. And at the same time, we when things are difficult, that's where we're really forced to really practice, where to and in terms of the losses, like I feel during divorce, there was a lot of losses, definitely. But at the same time, we are coming closer to ourselves. So we are finding ourselves in all of this. And sometimes we're lost. We don't know who we are. Now we're not a father, a mother, a husband or a wife. We are a father and a mother. Um, but we lose friends, like we lose time with kids and extended family, and at the same time we spend more time with ourselves, and there's a lot of beauty in that, in finding yourself through difficulties.
Mhm.
What are some of the things when you're starting your mindfulness practice? And some of it we've touched on, but like, what are things to pay attention to so that you can start to recognize things to be grateful for?
I think uh, any we can be grateful for anything, really. It could be warm bed, it could be clouds, it could be tea. When we realize how much it took to get this bag of tea into our home, how many people had to harvest it, package it, bring it. So when we start practicing, at first we can say, I'm grateful for having water. I'm grateful for having this computer. I'm so grateful I can talk to you now through internet. It gets more interesting as we progress, because now we have to find more things every day. We find new things to be grateful for, and we become good at it. We start noticing things we haven't noticed before. So it's kind of like practice makes perfect.
Yeah, I agree that you literally can be grateful for anything. Like you wake up in the morning and look around your room. There are so many things to be grateful for. And when you think about the meditation, like you had mentioned at the beginning, Cindy, the um, to look around and know that we're safe. We're in a safe space. We have a roof over our head. Hopefully, we're warm and we're comfortable, and we woke up for another day for us to try to move toward a better, happiness for ourselves. And I think that often I think people think like, what do I have to be grateful for right now? Look at the situation that I'm in. But certainly that's not what you want to focus on. Potentially you're not grateful for that. And so, but there are many other things you can be grateful for. And you can be grateful and have a lot of gratitude at the same exact time that you're having a lot of I don't want to say ungratefulness, but some things that you are not very happy and thankful for. You can hold those two things together, but a lot of people have trouble, the struggle at the beginning to figure out how to, it's an either or sometimes at the beginning for people until they realize you can certainly have them both, and balancing it makes it feel much better to get through the process that you're going through.
I
So,
love it. Yes, and kind of like, yes, I
yeah.
can be sad and I can be grateful for what I do have, or I'm developing new traditions, looking into what I want and need. Um, so yes,
Which
and
leads back to what Cindy said about how sometimes there are positive things that come out of these losses and the divorces that we have. They're not the first things that we think of, but when we think about it, anything that we, I'll say, complained about or weren't happy about during during our marriages, or the or whatever the losses are that previous to the losses that we experienced, there, those things can be turned into positive things for us. Those things, maybe we're very thankful that we aren't running around to our in-laws. Just an example. Maybe we're grateful that, and some people love that, but I'm just as an example. Maybe we're grateful that things are a little bit, the differences are sometimes something that we can turn into something that is very, very good for us. Maybe we like that better, and but it's hard to think about that at first. But
So it sounds like you're making drawing a connection between mindfulness and gratitude practice. Would you say they're similar?
I would say that in order to practice gratitude, you have to be mindful, which means just to be in that moment and be thinking about the thing that you're thinking about, not doing all the other things. Which is why sometimes that stop sign analogy reminds me of a time where there's a perfect moment for that. Normally, we stop at the stoplight and we're, I don't know, if you're me, finding something to do, and the moment you're there, I'm not sitting there for 2 minutes being grateful. I'm hoping the light changes soon and I can move on. But that type of moment, if I'm just mindful of the fact that I have 2 minutes right there, probably to spend a moment thinking about something I'm grateful for, they go hand in hand for me. I don't know what you think, Magda.
yeah, definitely. I think being in the present moment again, this is where life really happens, in the present moment. So mindfulness, and actually that's an interesting word because we're trying to get the mind empty, not full. But
Oh,
uh,
something different.
so yeah, so it's arriving in the now. It's saying yes to life. It's being present for what's happening, not struggling. There's this acceptance and just being where we are, and settling into connection with the body and mind. So it's really practicing gratitude is very much connected to mindfulness and spirituality, actually.
Mhm. Much unhappiness, and in my field, anxiety, people that are stressed and anxious about things, it's normally something in the past that you're worried about, or something in the present that you're concerned about. If you sit in the moment, typically everything, not always, typically everything is okay in your actual moment. What we worry about is often in the past and your present. And so if you think about where you are in the moment and just find what you're grateful for there, you're okay normally in each moment.
By comparison, in a meditation practice, for example, I might, on times when I'm under an extreme amount of stress, that's when I'm trying to meditate more, even if I feel like I don't have the time. But I think having that gratitude practice as well, like when you're under that extreme stress, can provide comfort.
Absolutely. It's a little bit harder to do but more not more important, but very important to do during the time. It reminds me of that there's a saying about when the people that are unkind are the people that need our kindness the most. And I think it's that type of thing, when we're feeling the most like we can't do that, is probably when we need to be doing it the most.
It's a really good reminder. Yes. Is
Yeah,
there
I love.
anything professionals can do to help people navigate loss? Professionals such as yourselves.
Go ahead, Magda.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for example, what I do, I facilitate divorce groups, and people find that extremely useful just to share experiences, realizing that these are universal experiences. Professionals very much help normalizing and really kind of showing, for example, there's this divorce roller coasters that everybody goes through more or less um, through various stages, and just normalizing this and having acknowledging um, people's feelings, empathy is really very, very important. And people need all the help they can get when they go through divorce. This is one of the most difficult time in people's lives. So definitely get all the help that you can during this time.
Yes, I would definitely agree. I think that people, I think we need to normalize, reaching out for help during these times. Especially we have families and children that we want to promote them, talking about how they're feeling about this and finding practices that can be helpful for them. And I think that when people, a lot of times, people sometimes don't seek out help when they need it as much because they're just sort of stressed trying to get their way through it. But if there were things like this that people were aware of, like attorneys were aware of, and not that they're not aware of it, but would just share that, feel comfortable sharing that with their clients and suggesting to people that they find some supports for themselves. It's really important during these times.
No, that's really helpful because that was going to be one of my questions about what can lawyers do to help folks who are going through this. So I appreciate that, that makes sense. So,
Sometimes I wonder if people feel comfortable doing that. It's not their role per se. And but I think that if we look at the larger picture of what you're trying to do to support families and whatever role that you're in, seems that it is our role to be able to say, I hope you're, and maybe pass along some resources I saw this, this webinar the other day on the Peridot website. Like, maybe this would be useful for you, just share what you've heard, and what's helpful for you.
If I may add, on the attorney side, I remember when I was practicing as a divorce attorney, I felt, okay, people pay me so much money, $400 an hour, 350, the rates are really high. I want to provide legal advice and not talk about anything else. I'm here to help with legal matters. So I think, and some people, so it's, some people like to have these types of more emotional conversations with attorneys, and some people don't. So it's very important at the very beginning to have that type of conversation as to uh, what are the expectations, what I can do and what I cannot do. Acknowledging someone's loss and empathy is always good, always goes a long way. And sometimes attorneys are just not, they feel like that's not what they were hired for.
right.
And they shy away from having more of a therapeutic conversations.
Right.
I think
But it's
this
good.
more, oh, I'm sorry, Cindy, go ahead.
Oh, no, I think it's just to your points, it's if we can try to be mindful of, the emotional component of what folks are going through when we're working with them, I think that's critical. We may not be able to have the tools that you do, obviously, but
Right, but we don't all need to have each other's tools to be able to suggest that someone else does have some that might be useful. And I think that this interplay between a lot of us in these fields with family law and therapy and coaching and the collaborative process, I think that it's becoming a little more natural for that to be able to be talked about in all the different spaces. And if people were to help our clients in all those different realms, I think the legal process would be a lot easier, better for people. The experience could be different for people.
that's true. I would have to agree with you. So what are the gains of a gratitude practice during loss? Or how does practicing gratitude affect our bodies?
I don't know if anybody experienced it at the beginning during when we did our quick little exercise there, but you physically can feel it in your body when you're trying to bring in gratefulness and to give out gratitude for people and things in your life. So physically right away, I think you feel something, and later your mind is calmed by some balance to knowing that there are some things to be grateful for and some things that you appreciate and still do have. It's not all loss. And if we are feeling loss and unloved and all of those types of things during a divorce, everywhere that you look, I imagine that you'll find somebody reaching out to you, something that that feels like people still do care about you. And the one person that you are uncoupling with, is not the only person in your world that you could feel that from.
Right.
Yeah, recognizing the balance, definitely, in all this. And I think what Kim, what you were talking about, the relaxation and calming effects of practicing gratitude, that's exactly what is happening chemically in our brain. So we release dopamines, serotonin, oxytocin, which are all like happy chemicals. We're building new neural circuits in our brain. So with practicing gratitude moment by moment, we are actually our our vibration becomes higher, and then it's easier and easier to build from that. And we can also feel immediately the calming kind of uh, opening effects of this practice, versus being constricted and feeling fear and anxiety, right? There's the adrenaline being kicking in, and from that place of calm, we can then make much better decisions and connect with ourselves a lot better.
That is factually true. Psychologically, when your brain is in a calmer spot, you can think about things more clearly, you can feel differently about things, and you can make better choices, like Magda's saying, and decisions about what you want to do versus coming from that very stressed spot. If you picture yourself, when you're very stressed, we can't find our keys, we spill our coffee, we're just angry at everyone in our way. Like that is how you feel in the opposite when you're calm. Suddenly your keys are right there and your coffee's still in its cup and you're not angry leaving your home. It really physically changes things, and changes the course of your day. I think morning gratitude is really useful.
How long do you think you have to practice before you experience benefits of a gratitude practice?
Well, so there's studies that a habit develops over 21 days. So, we can't just go to the gym one time and say, okay, I've exercised and I'm good. It's a habit, it's a practice. So the 21 days at least, I would say, and we will see um, effects right away. And then it may come naturally. We will suddenly start being grateful for things and it becomes effortless. It's no longer it's just part of our lives. So that's where we kind of want to get, because then we get into this vibration, this calmness, this space of being full of greatness. I love this quote: it is not happiness that makes us grateful, it is gratefulness that makes us happy. So with the practice, we become more joyful and happier.
That's really beautiful. We talked a little bit about meditation. I'm just noticing the time. It's 12:51, and maybe you'd like to go a little deeper in terms of what is the intersection between gratitude and spirituality, for example.
Yeah, so we talked about being in the present moment. And most spiritual traditions talk about being in the present moment. There's also a lot about in spirituality about gratitude and acceptance and interconnectedness. So when we and saying yes to life. So when we are present, we can really connect with our breath, and we can be with the divine, however we tend to define it. So life is happening in the present moment. So it is really, some people say that gratitude is their religion. Um, it's, um, yeah, it's really connecting us to who we are deeply.
It's the journey versus the destination. We're not going to find this thing or get to this thing at some point. It's something that we keep doing all along. And as you do it, it just becomes your natural way of living and functioning in your day.
What can you do to prepare yourself for the holidays if you're going through divorce? How can you use a gratitude practice, mindfulness, any other suggestions?
I think it's important to think about your own situation and what it is that you have over the holidays, what you're looking forward to, what you are wanting to experience out of them versus the things that you might be not looking forward to, or that you are, or the losses that you're going to have. Things will certainly be different. You can try to remember the things that you still do have, remembering what is the same, trying to think of traditions that you want to create for yourself. And also on the other side, maybe thinking about some strategies to use if you are going to be in situations that aren't going to be as comfortable. A bunch of people asking you questions, or things where you feel like you may want to exit from that or protect yourself from that. Try to just come ahead of time with some things. Make sure you're balancing that with the things in that situation that you are grateful for as well.
Yeah, so the definitely planning and having, like as Kim mentioned, like exit strategy, right? So maybe say if you're invited somewhere, like decide like, do I want to go there? Is this meaningful to me? And if I do, and if it starts getting uncomfortable, um, how can I just exit? And maybe say at the beginning, planning for it, that I'll come for 2 hours and make it clear. Um, and um, and really think about what is important to you and how you want to set boundaries, and how you want to make holidays something meaningful to you, like setting up new traditions. And Definitely you can't show up to somebody's house on 25th in the morning, so planning. And my whole family is in Poland, and I'm divorced. My kids are will be with my ex-husband this year. So I've reached out to a few friends to ask what they're doing. So I have a couple of options as of right now, and I thought about what I would like to do. And some people love hustle and bustle and presents and a lot of people, and some people like quieter time. So this is the time to really find out what you like, how you want to make the most out of holidays for yourself.
And you get to choose. You get to make that choice, which is nice. And what Magda was saying earlier about saying yes, I think is really important. Try to be in your moment, and say yes to whatever you can. Try not to isolate and think about your losses and wish that you were somewhere different. Try to put yourself there, create the space that you want for yourself for the day. there's a big difference between thinking about what you've lost and thinking about what you want, and you can create what you want. You likely can't change what you've lost, at least in this very moment, but you can create what you want for that day if you think ahead about it and think what you really want to do.
Just thinking about what you said earlier, Kim, about, when people act out and say things that they need compassion. I think we've all had situations where, if somebody, like you were talking about, having an exit strategy, to protect yourself, people will say stupid things. And sometimes it's just they don't mean it. They just don't know what else to say, and it still can still hurt. But maybe if we can have more empathy for that fact that we all say stupid things from time to time, that can also help us move beyond that.
That helps us protect ourselves from it being something about us versus something that person said that they could have thought about a little bit more, or we don't need to be affected by everything everyone says. It doesn't need to come into us, and for us to believe that. That's important.
Yes. And what I want to do is, just mindful of the time, I'm just going to share my screen to show a number of resources that Magda and Kim have shared, and I'm going to include those in at the end so that people can access these. And I'm sure that, can you all see these?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. A screenshot, maybe.
Yes, I will make sure that this, oh, you're saying a screenshot and put it like in the chat or
I
something?
think people could take a screenshot of it if they want to, or it'll be here in the recording.
Great. Are there any of these that you'd like to point out that you think are particularly helpful? Or are they all just sort of pretty good?
Yeah, they're all pretty good. The Grateful.org, it's a great organization with you can sign up to get daily words. There's some practices, there are videos, so it's all about gratitude. And a lot of the articles here are actually how to deal with loss and how to practice gratitude over holidays. So they're pretty very concrete steps. Kim, I don't know if you have anything to add.
You mentioned another organization yesterday when we were talking. I just wondered, was it Mindful? I wanted to make sure.
Mindful.org, yes, and they also have information about gratitude and mindfulness. Yeah.
All right. Well, I will be sure to add these to our video, and I want to thank both of our panelists for sharing their stories about gratitude and how they help their clients. And please, if you want to reach out to Kim or Magda, I know that they're open to talking to you about this topic or many others, and we'll make sure to include their contact info above and beyond in the video that should be coming out in the next couple of weeks. So thank you all very much. And I hope everyone has a wonderful and peaceful New Year. Oh, there's a question. Hang on.
I don't see it.
Rich?
I just want to say thank you. I enjoyed listening in. So thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
very much.
You guys,
Our pleasure.
you guys have the kindest eyes I've seen in the longest time. So
All right, everyone. Thank you again so much.
Happy
Take
holidays.
care. Happy
Happy
holidays.
holidays.